Boop, 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 boop. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another amazing episode of The Last Word, exclusively on Project Nerd. I am Q, your host for the evening, and I am joined by three of the pillars of Project Nerd. We're talking the OGs, we're talking the originals, and the reason we're talking them is because this month is Project Nerd's 9-year anniversary. 9 years of bringing you the nerdy, nice, neat newness or something like that. Let me introduce our panelists this evening. To my right, we have Iggy, founder, CEO, Nerd Elite of Project Nerd. How's it going?
It's going good. I assure you, I'm not ignoring y'all while I'm down here typing. I'm trying to find our fourth contestant.
But that's totally fine. That is totally fine. You're doing what the leader does, and that's hunting down the rest of us. Now, we have two more amazing contestants. Let's see. Directly below me, we have D. Hey, D, how are you?
Hey, I'm all right. How are you doing?
Oh, I am fantastically well. I am so excited to have you guys on this episode of Last Word. We're going to talk Project Nerd. We're going to talk current events. We're going to talk all sorts of awesome, weird nerdiness. But we can't do that without our third contestant right here, Mr. Tyler. How's it going, Tyler?
What is happening, my friends? Let's do this.
Oh, man. So much in the nerdosphere, if you will. Now, for those uninitiated who are watching potentially this for the very first time, The Last Word is one of the newest and greatest game shows on the Project Nerd Network. And that is, we bring a rotating panel of Project Nerd personalities or people from the Project Nerdosphere, if you will, and they compete head to head against today's pop culture questions, and they answer them to the best of their ability, and they are awarded points at the end of each question by the host. In this case, it's me. Sometimes it's Iggy. I can't point the right way. And really, ultimately, there is no point strategy. It's just whichever answer I like the best gets the most points and moves on to the next round. We have 3 rounds, and the last round, our final 2 contestants go head to head against one final question for the chance at the last word. Hence the name. Oh, look at this. Boom! Speaking of pillars of the Project Nerd community, Galo, the Dark Lord himself, has made it to the show. Hello, sir. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Oh, man, I'm pumped now that you're here.
Do I get bonus points for finding him?
You do.
No.
Absolutely. You get subtracted 3 points from whatever your initial score is.
All right.
So we are so excited. Now, this crew right here, for those who are unfamiliar, these guys are the most senior, the most senior. They're the oldest members at Project
That would
Nerd.
be me.
They are the crew that Project Nerd is built upon. And I am so excited to be celebrating this 9-year anniversary with you guys. I'm proud to be part of Project Nerd, and it wouldn't exist without you guys. And so if I could, before we dive into the questions, just real quick, can I get, so how long have each of you been? I know, Iggy, clearly you've been from day one with Project Nerd, but has everybody been from day one?
Oh, sorry about that. I fell.
No, it's okay.
I do want to shout out real quick to Adam Adair has been with us since day one as well. Unfortunately, his time zone is European time zone, so recording on a live stream at this hour, he's asleep, so he wasn't able to join us. But I'll let the other 3 here talk about their time joining us.
Yeah.
So, Iggy, how old is Project Nerd?
We're 9 years old. I believe we connected with Galo in year 2. Is that right,
Yes,
Tyler?
so I'm 8 years old in Project Nerd.
Amazing. D?
I was trying to look through my memories to the exact moment that I joined Project Nerd. I know that it was following one of the years I was at C2E2 because I was basically inspired by a panel to start getting back into writing. And so I started seeking out, familiar brands that looked like they'd be fun to join. And so I saw that Project Nerd was recruiting at the time, and that they were looking for a news writer or a staff writer. So I applied, and then just all history from there. I mean, went down into history with the social media management, worked on the publishing brand for a while. That was super fun.
Awesome.
And then, what was it? 2 years ago, Galo and I met for the first time, and Galo was like, "We need you to be the chief content officer." And I was like, "All right, let's do this."
I suppose if you say so, let's do it. Well, you are an integral part of the team, and that's awesome. I love hearing these histories. Tyler, what have you got? I know you've been involved with, at the very least, Nerdcast since like the beginning, because I went back and listened to the OG episodes when I joined the team. And
so I have definitely been. I am a 9-year veteran. So Adam and I and Iggy and Bob, I guess, would be the original. Bob was maybe a little.
Bob came in a few months. Bob would be 8.5 years old. So Bob's another.
I mean, in the lore of Project Nerd, a lot of it was basically started on basically me daring Iggy to start something because he was complaining about his old website so much. But yes, I was there in the basement, Adam and Iggy and I, back in the old days.
I will say
recording on a foldable all recording into a single snowball on a folding card table.
That's true. And I will say Tyler doesn't give himself enough credit. He was the one that says, we have these conversations at your house every week. Why don't we just record them? And that is how the Nerdcast was born. And yes, as you pointed out, Tyler, months in, Bob would stop by, and eventually he worked his way down to the basement to record with us. So Bob is also a veteran who is likely working this evening.
I love it. That's awesome. That's how the best things often start in the entertainment business, is from the humblest beginnings, grow the mightiest entertainment behemoths, if you will. So I'm sure you guys are familiar with how the game's played. I kind of explained it for the audience a little bit. Shall we just dive right in? Are you guys ready for round one?
Let's do it.
All right, so round one, we are starting off with maybe the most difficult question ever that has been heard on The Last Word. So I'm going to throw this question out there, and then I'll select somebody to go first. So first off, happy 9th birthday to Project Nerd. In 7 more years, Project Nerd can drive, and I couldn't be more proud. I mean, literally, I'm a proud parent. I'm like a weird, proud step parent right now. I have to ask, out of the 4 of you guys, what is your favorite memory of the past 9 years with Project Nerd? And let's go with Galo first, because I saw you kind of looking like, what could that be? Galo, what's your favorite memory over the past 8 years for you?
You know what? I kind of, it was funny because I kind of had this little Facebook group page when I first came across the mighty Project Nerd at C2E2 here in Chicago. But what has kind of become an ongoing thing since then was trying to take Iggy out of his, 2 favorite spots that he always likes to go eat. So through the years, I have been forcing him to expand his palate with the very well known and popular Chicago staples. And I think that it's actually become a thing with him now, where he wants to immediately say, I want to go to these places, but then he's also like just hoping that I'm going to throw something at him whenever he comes here. So I got to tell you that it's become so much fun. It's a great opportunity to just catch up, on everything else that we're doing, because it's so hectic when we're at the convention. So I got to say, it's every opportunity that the crew gets to actually go out and hang out and eat.
Galo, are you trying to tell me? Are you trying to tell me there are better places to eat in Chicago than White Castle? Because
there are.
Yeah.
But on that note, it was really cool to watch him and Quaddy in those scooters go to the White Castle in a not so good part of Chicago at 10 o'clock at night.
We took our screwdriver for protection.
Yeah, half in the bag. That was pretty good.
How very Tommy Pickles of you to carry a screwdriver for protection. I love that. That sounds awesome. Tyler, I'm gonna throw it to you. What's your favorite memory of Project Nerd?
I've been thinking about this all day, and it's tough. Although I will say, Galo has fonder memories of trying to get Iggy to eat other places, whereas I feel like those are some of my worst memories. Like, for the love of God, can we please someone go somewhere else? But I don't know. I think there's a good chance I might be stealing this one from Iggy, because I had two that were really tough. But there was a moment at Denver Comic-Con in year 3.
Yeah,
year three.
No, it was year 2. It was just year 2.
Year 2.
It was
year 2. Was it year? It was our first time because it was our first time at Denver Comic Con, because that was the year that we had that little corner booth and we met like Crit Six. Okay, and it was the first time that someone came to our booth unprompted and was like, "Oh my God, I love the Nerdcast." And Iggy and I had a little back and forth with them. I made fun of Iggy, as is my wont, and we made friends with them. And it was a glorious moment for both of us. But the first time that like listeners of the podcast came and found us unprompted and said, "Hey, we listened to the show," and it wasn't like, immediate family members of ours. So that was exciting.
Thanks, Mom. I appreciate it. That's awesome. I love that. D, what do you got for your favorite memory?
This is hard. I am almost 99% of my interactions with everyone have been online, because the nature of being in different geographic locations. And then of course the last year not being at conventions. We have so much fun on all of our little chats that we have. Our strategy chat, we have a lot of fun. The social media chat is great. But what stands out most to me is the time I got to meet Galo at Star Wars Celebration 2019 in Chicago. It was so cool to actually meet, this person that I've been online friends with for so long. And sadly, we only got one press badge that year. So we had, my family, we just showed up, bought our own badges. It was such a good time. But Galo had a press badge, and he got me close up and personal for the Sisters of the Force panel with my camera. I got some excellent pictures. I did not end up doing the write-up that I wanted to do for that panel. I still have the pictures. Maybe one of these days I'll do a throwback post. But it was so cool just meeting in person, hugging, just being like instant friends. And it was a great experience. I can't wait to hang out with everybody at conventions.
That's awesome. I love that answer too. All right, Iggy. Tough to follow up everyone else's fond memories. What is your favorite memory of Project
My favorite
Nerd?
memory is where we met the High Five the podcast guys, obviously.
Cheating.
No. To be honest, though, real quick,
I still receive sucker points.
our trips to Chicago get longer because there is so much food there. So Gal's got a point. I am going to let Tyler know he's combining two memories. So in Denver Comic-Con, the person just said, "I love the Nerdcast," kept walking, and we were kind of shocked because they never stopped. Chicago, our first time in Chicago, is where the person came up and said they loved us unprompted. And Tyler goes, "I'm going to ask you, why do you love the Nerdcast, or what do you not like about the Nerdcast, and why is it Iggy? And what do you love about the Nerdcast, and why is it Tyler?" And that person simply responded, "That's exactly why I love it." And so those are the two memories Tyler is combining. But
that's weird. Okay.
I'm going to be honest. It's hard to put it all into one memory. I think, though, it's the best memory is it's going to sound a little selfish because I love all those memories and everything. So I'm trying to think of something for me. And I was going through a very tough time in my life when this happened too, which this whole crew knows too, because they were all there for me. So when we finally launched the publishing and we saw such a huge success, we raised over $75,000 in Kickstarter in 1 year off of comics. And the reason that was such a big deal is that Project Nerd was kind of our gateway into a world that I had always targeted since I was 9. And then in the year I'm going through a divorce, I'm not with my kids full time anymore. Things like this are happening. For that to be there, and this crew right here, as they mentioned, even when the blog slowed down, these three, as well as a couple others, stayed on board, helped push the publishing, they made the effort to make my dream come true. Was huge for me and was such a fond memory as well.
Oh man, I like that. I'm getting misty over
Yeah,
here. I'm sure
right?
people who are watching this are like, I didn't think this was going to be such an emotional episode of The Last Word. I will say, all right, so I'm going to award some points real quick after this first question. I know it's going to sound like pandering and that I accepted his verbal bribes, but Iggy, you've got 4 points going into question 2. First off, you got high points because I love the fact that even on this show, you can't help but try and correct Tyler. I love that. That makes me happy. D, you are going into question 2 with 3 points as well, because that was maybe the most heartwarming memory that I've heard. Just the excitement level and the true honesty of getting to meet Galo for the first time and just having that bond and connection. I love it. Galo, you're getting 2 points. I love you, but you're getting 2 points because your memory was essentially forcing Iggy to eat things, which is something Iggy already does. So while I love that memory, it gets lower points so far. And Tyler, you're going into question 2 with 3 points as well, because I also remember the very first time that I got recognition from a fan regarding a podcast totally unprompted, and it wasn't Jay's mom. And that was a really big moment for me, for sure. So Iggy 4, Galo 2, D3, and Tyler 3. It's time for question 2. Getting a little pop culture serious here, guys. With the release of the Snyder Cut this month, the fandom is once again in a tizzy, demanding that Warner Brothers now #restore the Snyderverse. Now I have to ask, do you guys think releasing the Snyder Cut in the first place has opened a potential Pandora's box? And where do we go from here on letting fans dictate releases? I'm going to go with D on this one. D, what do you got?
Oh, I have a lot of mixed feelings about this. Being in so many fandoms and seeing fandoms attempt to dictate things, no, I don't think fandoms should have the power to dictate things in general. I think that the Snyder Cut and what happened with Zack Snyder was a really unique situation. I think that the studio lost faith in his vision, and instead of pulling the plug altogether or early on, they tried to distance themselves slowly and remove him from the process, like being ghosted from a relationship after dating for a year. It was toxic, it was inappropriate, it was unprofessional. And so even though I'm not a huge fan of his vision for the DCEU, I'm really glad that he got his vision, was able to come to the screen. I'm really glad that we got to be able to see it. I even would go as far as say maybe they should let Zack Snyder complete his vision for the DCU, because all this disjointed different movies, different things happening, it really isn't working for them. And what did work for them is the Zack Snyder cut of the Justice League. That being said, no, in general, I don't think fandom should have that much control. I don't think fans should have that much control. I don't think they need to be emboldened any further than they have been. For all the positivity, all the good things that came out of this, there's that dark, negative aspect to it that is unfortunate. And, unless we get to the point where we can film enough footage to have a choose your own adventure aspect where everyone gets what they want, no one's going to be completely happy with anything.
Sure.
If every fan had their say.
Sure. I respect that. I think that's a solid stance. Let's go with Iggy this round. Iggy, what do you got to follow that?
Well, on Dee's shoulders there, we are the Star Wars fans of the world. Her and I, that's our number one fandoms I know. And if there's anything we want to say, our fellow fans in that fandom are toxic. So don't give them control over it, right? It's terrible. But I'm going to say one thing. I have mixed feelings as well. I think it's going to come down to all of us having mixed feelings, because it was actually really good. But I think, as Tyler and I discussed in last week's Versus, a lot of it was Snyder had already received so much feedback and got to correct it after the fact, that this wasn't his original movie. So the rest of the Snyderverse still might not be as good as the Snyder Cut. But one thing, I am so glad that he got to do it. And it comes down to a little bit of what Dee was saying, but more importantly, the fact of why I couldn't stand the Snyder movies either. And to see him go, though, under those terms, under losing a family member and that being what pulled him and his wife away, is nothing short of terrible. And for him to be able to come back and do this and put in Easter eggs about the suicide hotlines and dedicate this film to his daughter, more than anything in the world that WB did for him there. However, I don't think this opens a Pandora's box. As much as I want that Nightmare Batman movie at the end, it doesn't, because it all comes down to money. And this is the money. We all know that it cost over $70 million to film all of this new cut. They've redid other stuff that we didn't even realize was coming. So I think it went even much higher than that. All for the tune of roughly about 8 to 9% increase in subscribers, equaling maybe about $21 million. So they have lost a lot of money in releasing the Snyder Cut. So I think WB is going to say, we did it, we're done, we're not losing anything else.
Oh, I like that. Coming in prepared, knowing how he feels about a situation.
Got my notes right here.
Galo, what do you got to follow that up?
Isn't this just so DC? I mean, the opening the door to the drama, to the uncertainty, to the, always coming in second. I mean, from looking at what's coming out, the looks like it took MCU director to come over to DC to maybe save, some of the DC franchise. But, as far as the Snyder Cut goes, yeah, there was a lot of money put into it. And yeah, everybody's going to say this was so much better than the original Justice League that came out. So, we should definitely, go with the Snyderverse and launch the Snyderverse. And it's just, I think, like Iggy said, it's just way too much money. And that's the one thing about fandoms. It's like, yes, you're there and great and hope you'll stick with us. But yeah, no, I would not give them the keys. That is just we've seen it too many times already, where it gets ugly and it makes a whole thing no longer attractive. It's one thing to overhype something; it's another thing to just bash it on account of you liking something else. And I think that definitely is. I've already heard of people putting in bad reviews for other movies that are coming out because they want one movie to win the box office. It's like, are you getting any of that money? Because it's a little too much effort for me for just the sake of saying my movie won,
Sure.
So no, I think fandoms are fickle. And for that reason, it just let the people that have the visions make the money, put out the thing, and either we'll like it or we won't. But I think Warner Brothers was trying to save face and save money with this Snyder Cut. Maybe they saved a little face giving Snyder his opportunity, but as far as money goes, I don't know. I don't know if they'll make it. So no, I'm not giving any fandom the keys.
That's totally fair. Tyler, bringing up the rear, what you got?
Listen, when a White Sox fan is calling out bad fans, you got to listen because he probably knows what he's talking about. But
who's a White Sox fan?
Oh, that's how. I don't know. I thought. Either way, you're not a White Sox fan. Sorry.
No.
I assumed.
No. I think Tyler should lose a point for insulting me. For insulting me.
For how many W posts I've seen on Galo's timeline? Yeah.
He's calling me names.
Sometimes it's fun to just give Gallo a hard time. But here's the thing. When it comes to the Pandora's box, Snyder Cut didn't open it. This thing's been open for years. Just look at the sea change between Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. Like, that was 100% down to just a small vocal minority on the internet being toxic and terrible, and fandoms are toxic and terrible sometimes. And it's just one of those things that you can't give in to that sort of stuff. Like, it's happened with the Snyder Cut. It's happened with Star Wars. It happened with the MCU when they tried to cancel Brie Larson because she said a couple things that, maybe people should stop being so shitty sometimes. And people got real upset about it. So yeah, I don't think you should get, but here's the problem. The problem is like it said, like, it is a little bit of a nuance because there are times when fandom is right to call out the big brands and call out the big names, because especially when it's in favor of inclusivity and diversity and things like that, whether it's calling out television shows for, tired tropes of, queer baiting and things like that, or just not, being more inclusive when we talk about who's directing these things, who's writing these things, who's starring in these things. So, and I think sometimes that needs to come to the forefront, and sometimes the only place it's going to come from is the fandom. But on the whole, as a bigger picture, yeah, no, they don't need any say in these decisions, because the people that you're going to hear shout the loudest are probably the people who need to be kept quiet the most. So keep them out, keep decisions out of the creative part of this thing.
Oh man. All right,
Q,
cool.
Q, I don't envy you on this. I don't envy you on this, having to judge our answers.
Yeah, no, this is tough. This is a tough call. I will say, I'm going to bring this up real quick because out of the last question, Damon had commented on the feed that he misses hugs, and don't we all? I mean, in reality, that's something we all could use more of, especially after discussing the Snyder Cut. So here we go, guys. Points are going to roll like this. Simply for the fact that I don't want people to think that I'm sucking up to the boss. Iggy, you're getting 3 points for that round. That brings you to a total of 7 at the end of round 1. Danielle, you're getting 3 more points because, dang it, I just love your responses. So far, everything feels so warm and fuzzy and lovely, and I could use more of that in my world. So that gets you 6 points. Galo, I liked your answer. I will say that I thought that it felt a little close to kind of what was being said, and I'm not 100% sure how much more you added to the conversation, if you will. But I went ahead and gave you 2 points, so that brings you to 4 points. And Tyler, man, I love a great pot shot, right? I love when somebody reaches out and just gives somebody a little tap. The problem is, if it doesn't land, it's terrible. It's a terrible situation. So for that reason, plus the reason that I kind of dinged Gallo for that you had, and it may just, be the sake of coming in last and having to follow everyone else, but you kind of said what it was already being said, I feel. I'm actually bringing you in with 0 points in this round. So that leaves you at 3, leaves Gallo at 4, D at 6, and Iggy at 7. So Tyler, unfortunately, you are the first casualty of the last word. I sincerely appreciate you joining us. Stick around. We'll bring you back in at the end. Everybody say bye to Tyler for now.
We still love you, Tyler.
Bye, Tyler.
Bye.
All
Tyler.
right, guys, you are moving on to round 2. Boom. This is the round where the points are doubled or something, is what normally is said in a game show. Actually, the game is going to play exactly like the first round, and maybe the points are doubled. So we're just going to dive right into it. Question number 1. Again, this is maybe one of the most challenging questions. I need to prepare myself. Guys, Project Nerd is passionate about passion. And what we all want to know, what the people watching want to know, is what passions do you guys nerd out about? Let's go with D. D, what do you nerd out about?
So many things. I am a Jill of all trades, and I love so many things. I love science fiction, fantasy novels, movies, TV. Star Wars is probably one of the biggest fandoms that I follow, but I'm super into epic fantasy novels. The Wheel of Time series is coming to Amazon, and I could not be more stoked for it. I'm really, really hopeful. I keep following the director on Twitter for just little tidbits. I don't really use Twitter very often, but I do just to see is there something new happening with the Wheel of Time series.
Sure.
I'm passionate about food and nutrition. I love to eat, but my stomach is an asshole, so I have to be really picky about what I put in my stomach. I really love, I'm really into nutrition. I have a gluten-free food group that I'm almost the exclusive contributor for. I'm a data analyst, so I love numbers, trends, Excel. I live in Excel daily. I'm passionate about my kids, about studying things about children, parent rearing, reading case studies, reading novels, just trying to like make sure I'm the best parent possible for my future geeklings. I just want to make sure that I can foster their sense of optimism and wonder about the world. And yeah, everything.
I love that. That is, you really are a Jill of all trades. You literally had, I mean, there was several things that you're like, I am passionate about this, and I love it. And I'm sure everybody else listening loves it as well. Let's go with Galo on the next one. Galo, we know you're not passionate about the White Sox, but what are you passionate about?
This one's really easy for me because I'm actually very passionate about Iggy. And believe it or not, we have never really sat down and spoken of it, but we're committed to each other. And when you see a brother, hurt, and you see a brother struggle, there's two ways to go. You're either the kind of person that says it's your problem, you deal with it, or you're the kind of person that wants to build this person back up and let them find their own, help them find their worth. Because if you know something about Iggy, it's that he will give you the shirt off his back as a person. And so, it's always, to me, it was like, no, I'm not letting this guy fall. I'm not letting this guy go down. I'm not letting this guy quit. And I never did. And it's very rewarding to me to be able to do that to somebody that I consider like a brother to me. And the only other thing that I'm like really passionate about and I get yelled at a lot about is Kickstarter. Ask Iggy. I'm always like, dude, Kickstarter, dude, Kickstarter.
He pulls me in. He pulls me in.
And it started, believe it or not, right before we launched publishing and right after we had met in Chicago. With this connection that I don't know I couldn't even tell you pinpoint exactly how it happened, but I became really passionate about independent comics from Australia, and I actually started digging into these groups of people that are in Australia that used to have real fun meetups and drinking draws like every week, and they would talk about Supernova, which is their huge convention in Melbourne, and a lot of them at that time were using Kickstarter to kind of, fund their projects. Cause most of them were artists, not writers, but they found a way to do it. And it just pulled me in to this different world of, what, it's not going to be worth $1 million. It's not going to, pay for college for my kids, but I'm going to have something that very few people will have. And at the same time, I'm helping build and feed the nerddom that is, comics and all kinds of things. I've helped fund things that I've never even opened, just for the opportunity to help. And that's so those are my I guess I'm passionate about helping.
Oh my God, Galo! Come on now.
I need points.
I love it. Iggy, listen, I don't know how you follow up Galo after that, but
I'm just, as I figured I'm going to be knocked out in this round because you're going to say you don't want to suck up to me, so I'll just go real anyways. But I am passionate about this team. When it comes to real life stuff, I think what Project Nerd builds and the people that are within it, we're all passionate about spotlighting creators, spotlighting people, getting people out there. And is that... Sorry, I had to mute Galo so I could hear.
No, it's okay.
There we go. All right, sorry. So anyways, we are spotlighting people doing this stuff. As Galo kind of went into, I think that's such a huge part of Project Nerd. And it's not just me. I think it shows in our whole team that we want to lift people up and lift creators up. I Project Nerd, as we've talked about it behind the scenes a million times, I love to create. I want to create everything. I want to create music. I want to create comics. I want to create movies. I want to create television shows. I want to, hell, let's make a Project Nerd video game. But I also want to just be surrounded by people that create. Like, let's just embrace the world of creating. Because one, when we're creating, we don't have time to deal with the bullshit that's happening in this world. The petty stuff gets left behind. And when we're creating, we're typically, many of us are creating something that's going to make the world better for tomorrow. So I love creating. I'm passionate about it. When it comes to stuff, what am I passionate about? Well, I'd say my 30 pairs of shoes would say that I'm a sneakerhead. My thousands of movies would say that I'm a film lover. Lots of comics also from Kickstarter, mainly Galo's fault because I usually get the message from him. When it comes to fandoms, I would say I'm kind of with D on this one. I'm all over the place. Right now, my monitors have Scott Pilgrim, Saga Comics, Spider-Man. I've got 5 Star Wars pops here. I got Bob Ross stuff, Harry Potter's Hellboy statue over here. It's everything. I think that just ties back to the original part of creating. When somebody's creating something and you can see their passion in it, I get excited about it too.
I love that. I love those answers all so much. I got to bring in this comment too. Damon says, "My stomach is an asshole" is the quote of the year. And I would agree with him. I will go as far to say that I think that's the t-shirt of the episode right there. I need a t-shirt now that just says "My stomach is an asshole." Maybe we can do it to like support people with gluten allergies. But that being said, let me award points for question 1. So Iggy, I know I said that I didn't want to suck up to you, but I love that answer. Once again, so heartfelt, so real. As an independent creator, as somebody who's teamed up with Project Nerd, I know for a fact that everything you're saying is 100% true and honest. So I'm going to give you 4 points for question 1. Galo, man, you got me. Where I was saying D got me earlier, you got me right in the feels. Clearly, you know my Achilles heel now. I'm going to give you 4 points as well. And D, I'm going to give you 2 points. I loved hearing "My stomach is an asshole." But you do so dang much. I just can't give you all the points because you're just so into too many things, is what I'm saying. I can. You're right. I won't. But, so that brings us with Iggy with 11 points, Galo with 10 points, and then D, you have 8 points going into question 2 of round 2. Now, once again, back to some pop culture nerdness. Here we go. With the recent release of the Britney Spears doc Framing Britney, her fans have inserted themselves into her life like never before, offering opinions online of her conservatorship situation and even calling for legal help and rescue. Britney herself recently spoke out for the first time since the release of the doc, stating that she felt embarrassed and was brought to tears over the entire situation. That said, do you think that there is a line to be drawn in exposing the lives of celebrities and involvement with their lives from the masses? Let's go with Galo. What do you got, Galo?
Here's the thing. I think that it's kind of I don't know how to pinpoint the word to it, but isn't that what celebrities want? You know, they want to be in the public eye. They want to be recognized. They want to be seen. They want to be heard. They want to matter. And so a lot of times what is going to happen at that point is that you are going to be seen, you are going to be heard, but it might not be in a positive light. You know, and when these docuseries these come out and you know, and these celebrities, I think they should all have the opportunity to say, you know, especially these young stars. I mean, they're so young and you could just tell that they're surrounded by hyenas that just want to cash in or just want to exploit them for all they have, you know, and then none of them are there to protect them, you know, until they figure it out for themselves. And, you know, so a lot of them, I think, do have a lot of regrets. And I think that part is genuine. But I think that, you know, when one wants to be famous and one wants to be a celebrity, this is what's coming with it. You know, especially now in this age of instant, instant info throughout the world, this is what you're going to get, and either you're going to be a private person, which will probably keep you from that celebrity status, or this is what you want and this is what you're going to get.
I like that. I think that's a strong and interesting stance. I dig it. Iggy, how you follow that up?
I thought I was going to play devil's advocate here and basically saying what Galo said, but he beat me to it. I thought everybody else was going to go the other way. So I'm going to kind of go lukewarm down the middle of the road because I got some things on both sides of it. You know what? I hate to be that person and agree with a competitor, but Galo, a lot of what he said is right. However, at the same time, there's a couple things that you can do as a celebrity. Is one, Britney had the chance to say something straight up at the beginning of all this. She could have. And I'm going to use the example of the Notorious B.I.G. documentary that just came out on Netflix. Faith Evans was furious after she was involved with it, that she was misled, as she said. And there were certain things that happened. And she spoke up before it got released, and it changed courses of that documentary. Now, it made the documentary more vanilla, a little weaker, but at the same time, it pulled out some of that controversial stuff that she didn't want involved in there. Britney has the chance to make that voice heard too, as well as any of these other celebrities. If you're going to let that she knew that documentary was coming out, she knew it was being made, whatever involvement she had, she was a piece of it. She could have said something sooner if she was worried about it. But you're exactly right. It came down to the fact that it was bringing attention. However, taking it away from Britney and talking more celebrities as a whole, the one thing I do think we need to back off of the personal lives is from way, way back there. People have the opportunity to grow. James Gunn is the great example here, where Disney reacted as soon as something got dug out of his past from how many years ago. And he has changed as a person. And you have to remember, whether we think that's right or wrong, what he did, whether we think it's funny or bad, it was in an era when he was basically a B-level horror filmmaker. That was shock factor. That was his game. So that's what he was doing. And he had come such a long way as a creator. Why couldn't he have come such a long way as a person? So I think at the same time, one, yeah, the door's open. You chose this life, everything like that. But two, you had the right to grow. If it's not something terrible, like obviously if something terrible happened decades ago, definitely bring it up. But if it's something small, it's time to let the world let that stuff go and let us see that celebrities, creators, and all that are just like the rest of us, and probably hate who we were 10 years. We hate who we were 10 years ago, so they probably hate it as well.
I like that too. I feel like you said what Gallo said, but you added to it. D, are you agreeing with these guys, or are you going the other way?
This is a little hard because before the documentary came out, for years, I was kind of casually eavesdropping on the Free Britney movement. I wasn't like screaming it from the treetops, but I definitely felt that the rules of her conservatorship, just the type of conservatorship that she was under, was inappropriate, and that she's basically semi-permanently under her father's control financially. She's my age or close to it, and I just feel like that's that it was an inappropriate decision at the time, and that it's something that's going to rule her life for years to come, because those types of conservatorships are meant for elderly people who are no longer in control of their faculties, and it's meant for closer to an end of life situation. It isn't meant to be something for a younger person who may or may not grow or become in a better place mentally. I want to see Britney happy. I've never met her personally. It's kind of crazy that, this has made me emotionally invested in Britney Spears. I'm not a pop culture or pop music fan, rather. So I don't listen to her music regularly. But I do want to see her happy. At the same time, at the risk of losing points, I think that celebrities are entitled to their private lives. I think the paparazzi crosses the line way too often. I think that has led to tragedy time and time again. I think just because you want to share music or be an artist in particular, that shouldn't open a box that says your private life doesn't belong to you. I think that they are entitled to their private lives. I think some of them sometimes are able to obtain it a little bit better than others. Sure, If you're really public online and you have an Instagram and a Twitter and a Facebook and you're inviting the public into your lives, by all means that makes sense. But if you're a more private person like Keanu Reeves, let Keanu be private. Let him do his own thing, and he has to work very hard to do that, and that's unfortunate.
All right. I dig it. These are some, man, you guys aren't making it easy for me. I mean, everybody has good points. I agree with all of it. So I'm just having to like kind of go with my gut here. D, I'm going to award you 3 points for that response because I agree with you to an extent, but I think you using Keanu as an example was actually to your detriment, mainly because that shows to me that a celebrity can keep themselves out of the public eye if they need. And I don't think that necessarily falls on anything to do with the paparazzi or the fandom. I think Keanu is in control of his PR to an extent. And I think, if you're going to be a celebrity with, like the other guys said, that's kind of one of those things. You either choose to be one of those super transparent celebrities or you choose to be one that's really buttoned up. You know who else I wonder about often? Wayne Brady. What's his personal life like? I have no idea. Nobody knows. It's a complete secret. So I'm going to give you 3 points. So that brings you in at 11 points at the end of round 2. Galo, I liked your answer. It was not what I was expecting. I had a feeling most people might lean towards the celebrities deserve privacy angle. So I was pleasantly surprised because I am one of those that I also believe that just comes with the territory. I've been putting on thick skin and a helmet my entire life preparing to be famous. So when I get famous, I'm ready. You know what I mean? I'm going to cry my eyes out and everybody's going to watch and it'll be fine. So Gallo, I'm giving you 4 points. That brings you to 14 points at the end of round 2. And Iggy, I know you thought you were going to be eliminated from this round, but you're not. You're actually going to stay in right now because I think you, once again, I really like it when somebody can follow up what somebody says, agree with them, but then add to it. And I think you added to it by adding an alternative perspective. You still didn't say that, celebrities deserve private lives. You still agreed with Gallo that that's kind of what they're expecting. But then you also kind of added to it with kind of what you called a middle of the road perspective. But I would say that it was actually kind of, I don't know. It was more. So I'm going to give you 5 points in this round. That brings you to 16 points, Gallo at 14 points, and D at 11 points. So D, unfortunately, you have to leave us this round. I am so very sorry, but I appreciate you participating. Please stick around. We'll see you at the end of the show. Everybody say bye to D. Bye, D.
We love you, D.
Bye, D.
Gentlemen, you have made it. This is rare air in the 3rd round, and you guys prepare for battle. Now, this is it. This is for all the marbles, as they say somewhere. I'm sure somebody says that. This final question is what it all comes down to. And I honestly couldn't think of 2 better people to answer this question because you may be the only 2 people who have any clue the answer to this question. And that question is, where do you gentlemen see Project Nerd 9 years from now? So we've already been around for 9 years. Where's Project Nerd going to be in another 9 years? Let's start with the man himself, the OG originator, Iggy. Where do you see Project Nerd in 9 years?
So my answer may not be exactly what you're looking for because where I see the brand in 9 years is really hard to project because I didn't see us here in 9 years. What I can see for Project Nerd in 9 years is still an amazing group of people creating amazing things because we're not going anywhere. Whether it remains our hobby on the side, all of us doing this for fun and passion and connecting with new people online and building new relationships like Dee and Gallo and Tyler brought up, or it's us doing this full time and creating some content that we're already working on behind the scenes, hint, hint, or that we're putting right in front of your face right now with one of our amazing 12 podcasts or multiple video series. I think at the end of the day, it's hard to say exactly where we're going to be, but I'm going to be happy with wherever it is because it's going to be joined by a group of awesome people. And as you heard from these awesome people, giving them mad credit for, they talked about how passionate each of us were to each other. I know Galo gave me a lot of love, but you could hear it in everybody's voice that they love being here, they love working with everybody, and they love being a part of something greater. And I think that's what Project Nerd is. It's something greater. And we prove that year and year again, because every time we're out and about or people listen to us or something, they say simply one word: wow, this is awesome. How can I be a part of it? That's more than one word. The one word was wow, but then they follow it up with another sentence. But anyways, so my immediate answer is I'm unsure, but my one answer is locked arms with you guys still having fun.
Dark Lord, I assume you're going to take it dark for this answer. What do you got to follow that?
9 years from now, I'm hoping to be sitting on a porch in my rocking chair, watching the next level of nerds taking the brand to the next level. What I do see for Project Nerd, let me put it to you this way: Project Nerd doesn't quit, and that's a big part of it. We don't quit. We have this was probably the first time, and Iggy could probably attest to it. Instead, and it was always about falling down and getting back up. So at one point, I thought maybe there was a little too many fires burning at the same time. But what happened with this, and it's funny because we might be looking back at the 2020 COVID time as the first opportunity that Project Nerd had to actually rebrand itself while it kept going. We had to evolve. We had to make things, fit what was going on. We had to, one of the biggest discussions we always had is we have to keep people interested, make things fun, get them away from everything else that's going on. And we did that, and we've evolved into this, this place where nerddums are celebrated. We're not being exclusive to the point where we're, it's all positive energy that comes out of the podcasts and everything else that we're trying to do. And we're all sitting there with one, ready to take off as soon as conventions come back and what we can do next. So, what I do see for us in the future in 9 years, as I don't know exactly where in all of these opportunities we will be, but Project Nerd will be a major player in one of them.
Ooh, man, both of these really, really solid answers. Now, one thing, Iggy, you threw me for a loop because when you said, I'm going to say something that nobody is going to expect, I thought you were going to say something crazy like, gone. Project Nerd's just going to be gone, man. Like, who knows where it's going to be? And I was like, whoa, that was unexpected. But you
have
said
a hot dog brand.
More in line with what I thought, which is you've had a vision, you have that vision, and that vision is kind of what got us all here. You know what I mean? Ultimately, you are the reason Project Nerd exists. And so if anybody has that ideal of what it could be in the future, it makes sense that you do. So I'm going to award you 4 points for that. And that brings you to a total of 20 points at the end of the round. Now, to get to Galo's answer. Galo, I couldn't agree with you more. I think it is very important to always look to the future. You know what I mean? That's one thing that I think Project Nerd does exceptionally well, which is it welcomes collaboration. It welcomes a cooperation. It welcomes and encourages people to follow their passions and do these things. And so, like you said, in 9 years, you hope to be sitting on a rocking chair and handing it off to the young whippersnappers that are taking the reins or what have you. I love that. I appreciate that. So much like Iggy is the reason that all of us are here, I will say, and pull back the curtain a little bit, you are the reason that I am here because you were the first person that I met at Ocon several years back that introduced me to the concept of Project Nerd. You're the first person that I had an interaction with. And for that reason alone, and because I'm hosting this episode, you're getting 7 points for that answer, because ultimately I am what matters most, everyone. So that brings you to 21 points, and you are tonight's winner. Unexpected, sorry, but here's the honest truth.
I'm burning your sweater, Q. I'm burning your sweater.
Here's the honest truth. Gallo gets the opportunity to have the last word tonight, but I mean, you run the thing, so you can have the last word anytime you want. So everybody say bye to Iggy for now, and let's give Gallo his moment in the sun for the winner's statement. Let me give you the proper banner. Let me give you the solo screen. Let's get you going here. Whoops, not you, not me. Nope. Hold on. What's happening here? I need to. There we go. And this is your time, Gallo. You got 30 seconds. And
ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us, for being here, for taking this fantastic voyage of 9 years with Project Nerd. Winning today isn't about winning, and it's not so much about winning, it's about being able to give you guys some love and props for everything that you've meant to Project Nerd. We've been here, we've been building, we keep building, and our goal is to keep improving and to keep pushing this brand and to bring all of the excellent nerd content to you that we possibly can. In these trying times, we all need to be good to each other, so be good to each other, respect each other, enjoy each other, and join us at projectnerd.com every opportunity you get.
I absolutely love that. What a wonderful way to end the show. I'm going to bring everybody back in here. Iggy, come on back. Tyler, come on back. D, come on back. Thank you guys so much for what I feel is surely the greatest episode of The Last Word that has happened to this point. Thank you all for participating. I sincerely appreciate it. And just like Gallo said, don't forget to check out all the amazing offerings from the Project-Nerd Network. Go to Project-Nerd on YouTube. We've got all sorts of video content up there. You'll find this very episode up there as well. We've got podcasts on the podcast network. Like Iggy said, 12 or so shows all in the run. Literally, we have a show for every sort of passion you could imagine. Don't forget to check out the website, project-nerd.com, for all of your new news and nerdiness and amazingness. Yes, look at all the logos we have here. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Join us next time on The Last Word. We'll see you guys later.